You can hear him in the background, can't you?
Yeah, we're sniggering.
Sniggering. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Balcony Banter. This is Tim Dowd for Living with MS in Tenerife. I'm here with Christina and Juliane and Clio and a special guest, Daniel. And we didn't know how to set up the cameras today. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fade this one out. We didn't know how to set up the cameras. So what I did is I put the blinds down because it's a bit windy at the moment on the thing. And I'm going to bring these guys on all in one. So unfortunately, or fortunately, you're going to get me twice. Now, I know what you're going to say. I know what you're going to say. It's too much, Tim.
Tim squared.
It's way too much.
Well, we've seen 3 Tims, so
You've seen 3 Tims.
So,
You've seen. So here we go. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to add to the stream. Bang, and then I'm going to make it wide.
Ooh.
Bang, and there we are. Balcony Banter. Give everybody a wave.
Hi guys. Hi Banterites.
Top of the morning.
Okay,
evening.
that's perfect.
Afternoon.
Cleo is just on the edge there.
I am always
That
on
is
the edge.
That is
Living
full
on the
face.
edge.
That's
I'm
full
living
face,
on the
okay.
edge, man.
So no,
Of the
don't do it.
balcony.
No, don't do it. In all, we got 104 people watching. We got
Yippee.
people coming in with hello. If anybody put
That's a hello then.
They're
It's a big
very,
hello.
very articulate.
a big hello. If anybody put anything in there that was really important that I have to read, you got to write it again, I'm afraid. And before we start, today's topic is to do with recovery. So I put in addiction and recovery because I didn't want you to think we were going to go and recover stolen goods or something like that.
Or a
We
truck.
did that last
Or a
week.
truck,
didn't we?
We've got Cola Zero.
Are you getting paid for advertising now, Tim?
No, which looks like red wine, but it isn't.
Which can be in any, it can be bought in any store.
That's right, yeah.
No product
But
placement.
before we start, I really have to do something that I should have done on Monday, and it's Daniel's fault that it didn't happen because we were having so much fun with him.
All right.
That's
Okay.
right. No, because that's a compliment. That's a
But
compliment.
thanks. That's
a
all right.
compliment.
I'm okay with that.
What I did is I set up. What I do now is when I've got to do something, I set up a banner
All right.
so I don't forget, because it used to be on the notes on my phone, and then the phone's over there and I can't see the notes. So what I did is I put this banner in, and then I found it today when I was setting this one up, and I really apologized, but here we go. A shout out to our friend Sek and his 4-year-old grandson Tommy. Hi Tommy, say hi to Tommy.
Hiya.
How are you,
Hiya,
Tommy?
How's it going?
And also,
Sorry.
this is from Nanny and Grandad Tommy. Okay, so have a great time.
Hi, Tommy.
The subject matter here is very important, but if you don't understand it, that's quite all right. We're just having lots and lots of fun.
Yes.
That's what life's all about.
Especially when you're 4.
Especially when you're 4.
Big time.
So I've got to go and get the nuts because I'm nuts. And what we're going to do now is we're going to. I'm not going to do. Are we going to do the COVID?
Do you want to?
I'll do the COVID afterwards. I'll do the COVID afterwards.
Okay.
I'm going to do the COVID afterwards because we're going to get straight into it, and I'm going to get the rest of the stuff that I didn't bring out. And I'll talk to you in a minute. So I'd like to introduce Daniel now. Maybe I can just swing this round.
Just throw me in the deep end.
There
Like,
you
you know
go,
what I mean?
Yeah.
You're a guest, now take it over. Do you know what I mean?
No.
You know what you're doing.
No, actually, okay, no, we'll do it like this. Actually, Cleo's going to interview you.
Am I?
Yeah.
All right.
Cleo's going to
Good.
interview you.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm getting
She's a
interviewed.
professional interviewee.
Right. Okay.
Well, I will start. I'll throw
No
the
pressure.
first question in. Okay, because I
Yeah.
haven't met you before.
Okay. How are you doing?
I'm grand. How are you?
I can't
Well,
complain.
let's let people catch up. You're from the country and I'm from the city.
I'm from the
Even though
West.
people might think we're the same kind of Irish.
Yeah.
We're slightly different kind
Yeah.
of Irish, but that's okay.
Yeah.
We appreciate each other and respect
We're
each
okay
other.
with that.
We're okay with that. Now, if I said to you, tell me about your journey, and I'm not talking about how long you've lived in Tenerife.
Yeah.
Where would you start?
Do you want me? I can start. I'll try and keep it short. So from an early age, I always kind of felt different from anyone else. You know, I never felt like I fitted in. I didn't like who I was. I didn't like the person I was. I didn't feel good
Really?
enough. Yeah.
When you say early age, like 7 or 8?
I think when I started secondary school,
Okay.
my parents split up at an early age. My background, I don't want to go into it too much because I don't want to bring my family into it too much. But my family were not the same as probably the family that were living in the area. They were, you know, slightly different. More, the best way I can say it is they were hippies, which, to clarify, I'm not ashamed of. But at the time, because it was different, I was ashamed of it as a young lad. Now I'm not ashamed of it. I love my mum and my dad, and I'm proud of everything that they've done and the way they brought me up. And I always felt different. I was ashamed of my background. I was ashamed of who I was. I didn't feel good enough. I didn't feel, you know, when there was a group of people around me, I didn't feel like I could fit in any way. You know what I mean? So, and I was actually thinking about it this morning, and the first kind of chance to kind of fit in for me was, you know, when I had a lot of friends that were similar, didn't fit in, and we started hanging around with each other. And then the first thing we kind of did was like, we decided we were going to try cigarettes. Yeah. And because I didn't think I was good enough, I always pretended to be someone else. I always wanted to be someone else. I looked at other people and thought, if I was them, if I was that person, people would like me. If I was this way, people would like me. And so I I remember the first cigarette, and straight away I was like, oh yeah, I've smoked cigarettes before, you know, and I wanted to be
the big lad.
The big lad. And I'd never done it. And I started coughing, and they were laughing at me, and all of a sudden I fitted in. We're like all of a sudden a crew. We were going to go get cigarettes and smoke together. And then
you were part of a gang.
Yeah, it was like almost like, and I fell in love with that, because all of a sudden I could be something that I got an identity of some sort, and I didn't like my own skin. I wasn't comfortable in my own skin, and they talk about addiction being a disease.
Okay.
And the way I best describe it is a dis-ease.
I like that.
Not at ease with myself. Okay, so. And when I found drink and drugs first, they gave me a way of being at ease in some way. And I'm not saying, this is just to clarify this. No, you don't take drugs, don't drink. It's not. I'm not saying that that's why, but it worked at first for me. It stopped this dis-ease with myself.
Was it dulling, something that you didn't want to think about, or was it bringing you into a different part of yourself?
It did many things. It brought me. It dulled what was going on. It also made me feel part of something, because there was the whole, you know, we're going out tonight, we're going to get drunk, or we're going to get high, or whatever it is. And all of a sudden I felt like I fitted in somewhere, which I've never fitted in with before. And it worked at the start, but quickly it stopped working, and quickly it started doing damage. My parents, to clarify, brought me up with morals. Not to be honest, to not steal, to not do bad things, to be kind to other people. They instilled these morals in me. But when I got into drinking and drugging heavy, those morals disappeared. You know, I would lie to you. I would do whatever was needed to get my fix. I would steal from you and help you look for what I just stolen. You know what I mean? And I became someone I would never have imagined I could have been, and I started to hate myself even more. And
that's a spiral.
Yeah, it was, and it spiraled quite quickly. From kind of getting into class A drugs, that's when it really started going downhill. And I don't really like going into what drugs I took, because for me it doesn't really matter. They all brought me to the same place. And I think an addict, whether it's alcohol or class A drugs or whatever, the drugs will bring them to the same place. And that's for addicts, someone who's got addiction. And from so I just got lost in it. I did all the things. I sold drugs, I lied, I stole from my family, stole from my friends. I did so many wrong things that I can tell you now, that's not me who I am today. But that's where it brought me. And in the end, before I found a way out, before I found hope, I hated myself completely. I didn't want to live anymore. All I could see was darkness. I used to sit by you probably know the west of Ireland, you know, the Shannon River. I used to sit beside the Shannon River in Ireland, and the water was black. And I used to imagine just ending my life in there, because I didn't want to live
just
anymore.
Letting it
just jump in and let me take
it.
Just end this, because it was like a washing machine. And it came to the point where I didn't know how to stop. And I didn't think anyone understood what was going inside my brain and what was going inside me. And I thought no one would understand anything about me, and they would never be able to help me. And I just felt that the only way out was to die, go to prison. And I just thought that, you know, for the rest of my life, I was going to be a mess.
And did you think that your family would almost be better off if you died rather than if you went to prison? Rather, if that it was better that they didn't find out everything you had done?
I'll be honest.
I mean, I'm just wondering how black it felt.
I stopped caring about anything,
Really?
even myself. You know what I mean? I stopped caring because it brings you to that stage where all you care about is using and you hate your life. I was so self-obsessed with myself and my life, and that it was I realized it was hurting people around me, but the real damage I didn't realize until I stopped. You know what I mean? The people I hurt, and I just, like, if I could describe the person, like if you could meet the person back then and meet me now, you'd be going, they're completely different people. You know what I mean? They're not the same person. And that was it. So I found myself, all my money went on drugs, everything I had. I couldn't pay my rent. I worked for a guy who was a friend of the family, and he was the person who brought me to my first 12-step recovery place. And I'm not going to tell you which one because I can't. It goes against our traditions.
Sure.
But I went to a 12-step group, and he brought me there. And I just remember him firstly identifying that I might have a problem and there's a place I can get help. And he said, "Do you need help?" And when I said, "Do you think life's unmanageable?" And I looked at my life. I owed money to banks, to dealers, to my family, to my girlfriend at the time because I couldn't afford to pay my rent. I didn't know what was going on inside me. I was emotionally broken. And I knew then that there was something wrong. I just couldn't figure out what it was. And he identified it might be the drugs. Right. So he brought me to a 12-step meeting. And from that day, when I went to a 12-step meeting, I haven't picked up anything since. And that's 2 months before I turned 21. Last year I celebrated 20 years without drinking drugs.
Congratulations.
And the journey after that can only be described as a miracle. I could never imagine that this would be my life when I'm sitting there wanting to end it, that I would be living here in a beautiful island with a beautiful fiance. And although things are tough, I was thinking about it this morning when we were thinking about doing this. I was thinking, as bad as things could get here, like losing my business and stuff, they'll never get as bad as where my soul was back then. You know what I mean? That dark place.
I've got to come in. I've got to come in now because
on.
you've got loads of people giving you the support. It's really, really good. I put a load up there, so if you're watching it back later, you can read them.
Okay, thanks, man.
But Rick's online, Tenerife Vlogcast online.
How are you, Rick?
He said he was fortunate enough to hear Daniel's story in the car last Monday. He was up to see me. So he said, great respect from me, guys, is worth hearing. And Catherine's saying hi, settling down, says, enjoy your vlogs, stay safe, Peter Porter. Look at the great guy you are now, Daniel.
Thank you very much.
Ultimate respect for Daniel from Martin Nash. Tree says, Rick, well said. Very honest man, Daniel is, says Simon. Jameson's Barbershop Timberley. It takes a brave man to open up like this, Danny. Respect to you, sir. So it's really, really good. Ollie Barnes is saying the same. Utmost respect to Daniel. Mark Alex and Daniel has now done his family and friends proud how he has turned his life around before it is too late. Well done. So, yeah, I mean,
it's very much. Thank you.
There's a load more as well. I'm sure you can read them afterwards. They just keep popping straight up, so I can't really. Very brave, Daniel, says Angela. And Honeybee, your family and friends must be proud of you now. And Mark Allinson, hopefully we can meet up when we fly to Tenerife in September. Scotsman, well done, Daniel. 20 years, some achievement. And Roger Channing, our friend Roger, total respect for Daniel. Okay, I'm going to let them talk now. I just wanted to butt in there and
Thanks
just give
very
you
much.
The great thing that's going on there. I have got a quick question for you.
Yeah, fire away.
Have you finished with your actual journey?
I mean, the only thing to finish on that, I want to make it clear that if there is anyone out, if anyone is watching this now and they can somewhat identify with what's going on, what I've been through, and that I'm in recovery and things have changed, that there is help out there. If you do, I'm not going to mention any of it on here because it goes against our traditions, but you can find my Instagram. You can drop me a message and I'll send you the links to where you can seek help. 12-step has gone online. There's lots of meetings online. So if you do need any help, just drop me a message. I'll gladly send you a link to find help. Okay, so.
That's great. I mean, the story's not finished.
No. But I just wanted to.
No, but I mean, the story isn't finished because what I want to know is when you. I know I missed a lot of the stuff, but I was hearing it when I was doing that stuff. But what I want to know is how did you do it from one day to the next? I think that's what you said, wasn't it? You went to the meeting and that was it.
Okay, so
There was no weaning or anything.
oh, look,
I don't want to go into all the relapses or anything like that. But
no. I look. Everyone's journey is different. My journey personally was there was no relapse. I was blessed. Okay, I didn't have to go into a treatment center, and that's yet, because I know to this day, if I pick up anything again, it's straight back. I don't know what it promises. So for one is too many and 1,000 never enough. Okay, so for me, I know that I have to keep my distance. It's a lot easier for me now.
Yeah.
I DJ'd for 10 years in one of the biggest clubs in Ireland. It was a club I actually sold drugs in, funny enough, and the owner knew I did, but he also knew I changed. Because after 2 years of recovery, he said to me, he sat me down when I took the job. He says, "I want you to work here, and I admire everything that you've done." And he said to me, he says, "But if you pick up, you're gone." And that's the reality, because I know that. But when you talk about the weaning off, the obsession to use when I gave up first at the start was so powerful. Like you can't imagine. Like that's the way I couldn't do it on my own. I could never do it on my own. There was no way of me doing it on my own. So I needed to seek help. And when I sought help, there was people that loved me until I loved myself, that cared for me, and I try and do the same for people that seek help. Is passing on that message. And at the start, it was made very simple for me, because if I imagined 20 years without drinking drugs, I would have panicked. I would have said, "There's no way."
That's what happened to me with smoking.
Yeah,
that's exactly what happened to me. I wanted to give up, but it was the panic of never having a cigarette again. You know, that sort of abyss in front of me. You know, and Stephanie came up to me one day in. I'll tell the story later, but Stephanie said something, and that was it. It was like a switch in my head. It was a switch. And I try and tell people it's a switch. In fact, I do a pretend psycho hypnosis, to stop people smoking, where I grab their ear and I say, you're gonna one of the cigarettes in the next 15 days is gonna taste different, and it'll be that one. It'll be your last cigarette. It'll taste different, and you won't. It'll taste horrible, and you'll think of me, and you won't, and you'll push your way out. You'll push it out and say, I'll start smoking at 12 o'clock. Now 12 o'clock will come and you can't do it. I'll start smoking at 2 o'clock, and then it doesn't arrive, and then all of a sudden you sort of say, yeah, who starts smoking at 40?
Yeah.
So that was the way I gave up smoking, but it was a switch to do it, and then this step of just pushing it out a couple of hours.
That's exactly it. And sometimes for me, that's exactly the what helped me at the start. A couple of things. When the obsession was so strong and I couldn't myself, I'd pick up the phone and ring someone and say, "Look, this is what I'm thinking." Yeah. And they'd say, "Look, do X, Y, and Z." And it was exactly what you said. Instead of thinking 20, even a week, a week seemed like a long time for me. And I was like, you only have to do it for 24 hours. 24 hours sometimes seemed a long time. So 5 minutes was sometimes what I broke it down. It says, right, for the next 5 minutes, I'm not going to pick up a drug. And that 5 minutes turned into half an hour to half an hour. And all of a sudden I was putting my head on. And some nights I call white knuckling nights, where I was literally at the edge of my bed, just please get me through tonight. Please get me through tonight without picking up. Please get me through. And I'd pick up a phone, and there was just people that cared for me around me. And the obsession to use disappears after a while.
Which of the 12 steps are you still using now in your life?
All of them.
All of them.
All that we have after number 12.
I mean,
number 1.
Okay, yeah, but I mean, number 12 you are using all the time. You are doing incredible service.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
So obviously you're sharing with the world, and you're contributing.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. Would you say that like they say in NAA, that your best thinking got you here? That it started out with having certain, like you said, certain thoughts about yourself that you didn't fit in, you were different, and all of that you didn't really identify, and then it slipped away. That would you say that it can also be seen with other addictions? And I'm not saying like addictions, talking about addictions to drugs or or anything, because I mean there is addiction also in a lot of other senses. Like someone can be addicted to negative thinking, or holding on to grudges,
Or to
or
exercise.
anything, shopping,
Crisps.
exactly, whatever, you know. And it's just something like a thought that you cannot really get loose or get rid of, and you're so attached to it, and that's what's like making the addiction, the spiraling further down instead of up.
To depend.
So to kind of give you, okay. So my own belief, I don't want to bring any fellowships into it, but my belief is that addiction is something I had from the day I was born, and it does enter my life. I have to be wary of it on a day-to-day basis. I practice certain things that help me on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Put my mind in. I meditate daily, silent meditation. I have many things that I do that keep my mind on the right path. If my mind goes the wrong direction, that mindset can come back in. And like you said, shopping, spending money, adrenaline, exercise, and it can come to a detrimental stage if I don't identify and say, hold on. One of the things a good friend of mine used to say is play the tape to the end. Especially when I used to go, because in the early, when I got off drinking drugs first, I chased money, I chased success, I chased material things because I believed that would fix me.
So
you
tendency to be
substitute.
addicted to something.
Yeah.
You needed to be addicted to something. Maybe.
So you substituted, basically.
Not so much. It goes back to the dis-ease.
Yeah.
So if I've got a dis-ease, sometimes I seek on the outside for solutions for the inside.
Exactly.
And that can be money. It can be many things that I think, oh, well, that new gadget is going to fix me today. That'll make me feel better. And I spent money needlessly.
Exactly.
I'd buy I'd buy random stuff. And I'd bring it home, I'd open it, and I go, well, it hasn't changed how I feel.
Yeah.
You
And
know
it
what I mean?
it can even be more so. You can even seek it in other people. It's not only material
Approval.
stuff, in other people, relationships as well, getting into the wrong relationships, thinking that person might be the one, or that brings it all. But actually, it has to come from inside, like
100%.
you said, and that's where it all arises.
We got a few questions.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say thank you again to Andrew Horseman. Andrew Horseman comes
Andrew.
on every show, and he donates £5. And we thank you so much. It really does help us keep the channel going. And you don't know how much you do really help, Andrew. Thank you very much. AJ's saying, can I ask what the wolf tattoo means and how much did it cost? You don't have to say the second one.
You can. It cost me €250.
Okay.
I actually got it live on YouTube.
Yeah, you can actually watch it being done.
You can actually watch it being done. The wolf. I believe in spirituality, and I did a spiritual journey about 3 years ago when I was coming out of a tough situation in my life, and in the spiritual journey, a wolf appeared as my spirit guide. So that's why the wolf is on there, and the image of the palm trees. Nature is a huge part of my life. It's where I connect with spirituality for me massively. So the wolf is my spirit guide, and then the palm trees and stuff is my connection to nature. And I hope that answers your question.
Cool.
It's there,
Tree surgeon Bob's got a question.
He
He says, now that Tenerife businesses are suffering, do you feel tempted to hit the drink and find your way out?
Honestly, no. And I tell you why, because it's the one out of all the things I hold dear in my life, it's my recovery. You can take my car, my business, everything from me.
Don't take his car.
Is it? All right. Car's all right, actually. But you can take my car if you want. Like literally, it's the one thing I won't give you. It's the most important thing to me, because I know that not one drink or drug will ever change what's going on in my life. It'll only make it worse. And I made peace with that many, many, many years ago. So I don't have any like, it doesn't appeal to me in any way.
Do you think this is a dangerous place for people who have a tendency to addiction? I'm talking about Tenerife because I have seen it over, and I was close to it myself, I think, when I first moved here. I thought I was escaping or just changing my life, and I know that I was on the brink, maybe of using and drinking too much.
I think that it doesn't. I think that it's probably more readily available and easier
And cheaper.
and cheaper to dig yourself a big hole here and go into a darker place. But I think if an addict wants to take a drug, even if they're locked in a room, they'll find a way of getting it.
Okay.
And I think if you come here with not a good enough base if you're in recovery and you come here with not a good enough base in your recovery,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't tap into the fellowships on the island before you get here, then it's like that. You're not practicing daily maintenance. There's a good chance that it's very easy to slip into that thing.
Mm-hmm.
I
think that the question is slightly. I would ask the question slightly differently.
Okay.
How many people get here and don't know they're addicted?
That's a good question.
I don't know. Honestly, I couldn't answer
question.
that. I mean, I'm going to out myself now. I'm down the pub every day and I've seen the same guys, you know. No, but you know what I mean?
I think
there are people here that sort of like they wake up, they have a bit of breakfast, they do a bit of shopping, and then at 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock or whenever it is, they're down the local and it's whack, 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 whack until chucking out time. And they think it's normal.
I had, when I first moved here too, I hung out with a certain crowd and I was single and I had disposable income. And you could say I fell into a wrong crowd. They were my decisions the whole time.
Yeah.
But when I decided to change my life and becoming pregnant was what was my trigger, I left them behind and a lot of them resented it.
That comes me to a good question here from bus driver Respect Daniel. Did any of your family or friends reject you then or now?
Now? Okay, so it's a funny one because it's kind of different sides. So when I gave up drinking drugs first, obviously I was surrounded at the time by people who did the same thing. So one of the things I said is, if they're really my friends, they'll meet me for a coffee.
Yeah.
If they're really my friends, they'll hang out with me doing stuff that isn't drink and drug related. And quickly my friends dropped off. Well, my friends, I say that, and it's not a judgment on the people that hung out with me. It's just that, were we really friends? And I have a couple of friends from that time that are still my friends today. And they're the ones that encouraged me, that said to me, you know, came around and visited me outside of the party scene. And then the others, no judgment against, we just parted ways. And then my family, obviously, when I was using, my mother tried to help me a few times. They were baffled. They didn't really know what to do. I did live with my sister at one stage, and she moved out because she couldn't handle the madness, you know, because there was drugs in the house, there was people knocking at the middle of the night looking, you know, she needed to get away from me. She exited the house, and the funny thing was, this is a funny part of it. So she exited the house, and because she was worried about me not being able to pay the rent, she got 2 people to move in, and you're going to laugh at what their professions were.
Cops.
One was a cop and one was a nurse, and they were coupled together. And I moved in, and she rang me and says, by the way, I moved out because I didn't know what was going on half the time because I was in another world. But be careful because there's a cop and a nurse.
Now that's love. That is the love of a good sister.
My sister's a star, you know what I mean? I love her to bits. And my family were very supportive, very supportive. Because, and like that, you know, they could see that the change that was happening in my life, and they're proud, you know, they're proud of me now, like, you know what I mean? And yeah, I get a bit emotional thinking about it, you know. I shared my experience in a big audience at a convention, and my family were there, and you could see how proud they were of me, and, and you know what I mean, and that was an amazing experience, and I feel truly blessed. So I hope that answered. So my family needed to stay away from me. You know what I mean? I was a wrecking ball in people's lives, and now that they're you know, and I think it just takes a bit of time when they start to see that I'm changing. They kind of got back into my life.
This might sound really personal, but before you turned your life around, were there times when you resented them, when you thought that they weren't helping you enough, or that they were causing your problems? I mean, did you lash out?
Oh yeah. I lost contact with my mother, and it was my choice 2 months. I don't want to go into the details of it, but it's one of the moments where you kind of think, have I really become this person? You know what I mean? Like, even though you're in a dark place, you're kind of standing there in the middle of the situation and you're going, have I become this person? And it's one of those moments. And I don't really, because, you know, my mom might be watching, and I want to respect my mom, and she's going through a hard time with herself. So hi, mom, if you're watching, I love you
Danny's
loads.
mom.
Yeah, so I did something I should never done. And I got angry with my brother, my sister, my father. It was very hard to understand what was going on for me, and because I felt that they were interfering with that. Basically, anyone that got in between me and drugs were getting in front of fire, and that was the reality of it. You know what I mean? So, so I hurt people around me. You know what I mean? And
sorry, I'm not
no, it's
asking
okay.
you to bare your soul. It's not fair.
I'm okay with it. I'm open about it, because the reason being, me bearing my soul hopefully reaches out to someone who can seek help and change. You know, and I'm open about it. I'm not a. I think the most important thing is, stigma can kill people. You know what I mean? If people come out and they turn around and say, you know what, I'm messed up, I need help. Can someone help me? And then you can find help. So maybe by me being open and removing a stigma, someone is going to go, I need help today, and go and seek help. You know what I mean? So for me, it's, if my openness helps someone, then I don't mind. You know
Well
what I mean?
done.
So,
Another very interesting question from Slimmer Life weight loss experts.
Timmy, baby.
Has your addiction been the crucifixion to personal transformation? Would your life be as good now without the addiction?
honestly, I can't answer that question, but what I can say, and I was saying it to someone this morning, I'm grateful that I am in recovery. For the very fact is, because I'm in recovery, in a crisis situation, like, for example, I woke up this morning stressed about life, about what's going on, about business, about all this stuff. But I knew the tools that I needed to do. Did a 10-minute silent meditation, got in contact with my own spirituality, focused on what I had to do next when we talked about what we have to do in the next 5 minutes, not projecting into the future, and deal with what I have to do now. And if I didn't find recovery, I wouldn't have those tools. And I can pick up a phone to someone who cares, which I wouldn't have had. You know what I mean? So I agree. I'm grateful that I'm an addict, but I'm grateful that I'm an addict with recovery in my life.
Right.
If that makes sense.
But those points, those moments of pain, they always bring you to the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
If you decide, like, I mean, those things in life, they always bring you to a better place. Like what you are doing now, Tim, is also has brought you to a better place.
I've always said
Christine,
that everything you've ever done in your whole life and all your forefathers has brought you to this point.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, enjoy this moment right now.
Yeah.
And you've got 3 other telephone numbers, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I might be calling you, actually.
There's just to elaborate on that bit. Sometimes when your spirit is lost, it needs a shake. And my shake was the dark place that I went to, and the shake, someone shook me out of that place, and I was spiritually void, and now I believe my spirit's alive. You know what I mean? And I liked what you said, because without pain, there's no growth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Rock bottom.
Yeah.
Well, when you said a while ago that you think you were born with the tendency to be addicted, from what I understood.
Yeah.
This is a very personal question. I don't
Fire
know
away.
if you have kids. Are you scared of having children? I was. Are you scared if you have a kid that you are going to automatically, that they might, or just would have the chance of facing a similar path?
Firstly, no kids. Secondly, I'd like to have kids. The current situation makes me nervous more than anything else about having kids, because of the unknown of what tomorrow brings.
Sure.
Because of what we've got going on, the current situation. In relation to addiction, No, because it is a possibility. I've watched friends of mine that are in recovery, and I've seen their kids grow up with lives full of love, full because their parents have changed. Some of them got clean while the kids were growing up. Some of them were clean before their kids grew up. But recovering addicts can be some of the most caring, thoughtful, because they're working on themselves. And I see friends of mine's kids flourish in life. You know what I mean? Because they've been. I'm not saying that it's only addicts that do that, but because you're on that journey, you tend to you can be more aware and give your kids more support. So yes,
gives them the tools maybe to deal with stuff.
They could possibly be, addicts, but they could possibly be anything. But with love, connection. I've seen a brilliant podcast or something like that where connection is the opposite to addiction.
Oh, I like that.
Connecting with someone, so giving someone love and connection from an early age, and understanding, because I know what it's like. I don't see there possibly is a risk, but I'm willing to take that risk because I know that I'd be a good dad. You know what I mean?
I reckon you would too.
In fact, Stephen Moody's sort of summing it up here, saying everybody watching this vlog tonight has taken a bit of strength and inspiration from Daniel. Top man.
Thank you very much.
We just go through a few more. Joanna's sort of saying, obviously, well done, Daniel. Goes without saying. Mr. Gypsy Tear, fair play to you, Dan, for speaking openly about the old problems. Just looks like where you was and where you are now. Massive achievements. P.S. Sahar's twin is a single. Give me a shout out. Everybody's trying to get in contact with Sahar's twin.
Yeah,
Sahar, for those you don't know, is Daniel's fiance.
Oh, okay.
And she's a twin from.
She's Persian.
She's Persian, the Persian princess.
She's from Iran.
I didn't know whether I'd invited her or not.
No, you didn't. But it probably would have been too many people at the table. And I'll be honest with you, me personally, I feel more relaxed. No, I feel the same if she was here, but
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, when you're, it's hard to explain. Like, because because we're doing here has inspired me to possibly do. I'm working on a vlog it's a quick vlog about similar to what we're talking about now. And Rick from that Tenerife vlogcast says, "Do you want me to interview on that?" And I said, "Do you know what? I think I'll go deeper on my own. You know what I mean? Because I won't feel which I'm doing. I don't know. It'd be different. You know what I mean? When I'm on my own, it's going to be different.
You got to do ASMR though.
It's
ASMR.
It is true.
Close to the mic.
Okay.
You've got to do.
Sorry about that,
ladies and gentlemen.
I'm getting too relaxed, although I am nervous.
But what you're saying true as well. I mean, I was trying to. There was something else people talk about, like there's no standard profile of, I don't know, a child molester, or there's no standard profile of an addict. It can be from any class, any sex, any hereditary background. And I think what's interesting too is like that people can function, if I want to, as normal people going to work, coming home, and people might know that they're addicts.
Yeah.
And that's dangerous too, isn't it? I mean,
100%.
That not just the fact that the addict is hiding it, but that other people aren't aware, so they aren't making the connections. They aren't reaching out to help. Maybe
there's kind of, the best way I can describe it is there's two types of unmanageability. There's unmanageability on the outside that is completely evident to everyone around, not being able to hold a job down, causing problems, all that sort of stuff. And then there's inward unmanageability, which is to do with emotions, to do with someone could be in searing pain and caring about their, just going home, just feeling spiritually void without anyone even knowing that. You know what I mean? And that's inward unmanageability. You know what I mean? Not being able to manage emotions, not being able to deal with emotions, possibly anger problems, possibly self-harming. God knows, self-harming is sitting at home, drinking yourself to sleep. That's self-harm. You know what I mean? Because you're putting poison in your system, like enough to kind of put yourself to sleep or whatever it is. So, so for me, there's many types of ways addiction manifests itself in
So
people's
it's not
lives.
like, oh look, there's an addict.
No,
You
because
know?
a lot of people think, oh, an addict is a man who sits on
On a bench
sleeping
with a
on the
bottle,
bench with a
yeah.
bottle, or
In a brown
has a
paper
needle
bag.
in his arm, or whatever that is. A lot of people would see that as what an addict is, but an addict or an alcoholic, someone with addiction, can be many different things, and it's non-distinctive. It doesn't decide, oh well, that person's this, so I'm going to be. It can be. I know people are
Because
super
it's
rich
controlling
and have
you.
amazing lives, but they're addicted.
And it's, I should hope now, because I know other people want to ask questions, but I've also had experience of watching somebody thinking that nobody knew they were an addict, thinking that they were controlling the situation perfectly. And it was only afterwards that people began to say to them, oh, we knew.
Yeah.
What do you mean you knew? Well, we could see that you weren't in control, that you were drinking too much, that you were slipping bottles of vodka into your desk and stuff like that. And there was the self-delusion going on as well, I think, for a long time, in terms of this addict that I knew very personally. And that is a danger too, I think, because I think if other people think I'm coping, then I'm coping.
Yeah, well, you lie so much to yourself that you believe your own lies.
Funnily enough, that's something that's in my life as well, because when I was young, as a teenager, my grandma died, my dad's mum died, and my granddad came to live with us, and he was an alcoholic. In fact, I think all my grandparents were alcoholics. Yeah, probably. So it skips a generation, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
But the thing was that my granddad used to hide it. So my mum says, if you come to live with us, there's none of this going and drinking out of the bottle. I want you to have a chair and have a little glass on the table and have a little table next to your chair, and you can pour as many as you like. You can drink the whole bottle if you want. Just don't hide it, she said. But he was, because he'd drink his bottle of whiskey on the chair, and then he'd say, I'm just going to the loo, and then he'd go to the loo, and he'd go into we got these little closet where you hang your clothes up by the front door, and there was a little, fifth in his pocket, and all that. But we all knew,
Yeah.
In fact, I used to go and nick it because he couldn't tell anybody it was gone, He couldn't say, little Tim, the little bugger's been nicking whiskey. But yeah, so I think is it fair to say that when you start lying to yourself and hiding the fact that you're drinking, is that when it's time to? Well, no, I suppose it's time to give up when you start. I suppose. What I'm trying to say is, am I an alcoholic if I'm hiding stuff?
The only thing I can say to anyone is only you know.
Okay.
Only you, like I can't decide for anyone. I can't say that person's an addict or that person's an alcoholic. They're going to know themselves deep down that they need help. If someone feels that it's destroying their lives and they look at and I'm not on about outward. It can be everything. It can be destroying your life outwards, but it can be inside, and they realize that it has some sort of control over their lives. Then it's like, well, maybe I need to address it. And what I'd say to anyone is, why not go to a 12-step meeting of some sort anyways? It's only an hour out of your life. You've given enough to drinking and drugging. Or if that hour and you think, oh, this isn't for me, it's only an hour. You know what I mean? And I always say that. So come along. If you like it, great. If you don't come back. I mean, my first ever one was a Saturday night. So Saturday night for me was party night. And I thought to myself, well, if I go for the hour, I'll go. And if it's not so good, we'd say something else in Ireland. If it's not so good, I'd go out afterwards.
So it's only an hour.
Yeah, it was only an hour. So I thought to myself, I'll go to this, I'll go out afterwards. And from that day, I haven't.
Well done.
So that's and I could have gone out afterwards.
Was there a particular person at the meeting that identified, or you identified with, or was there a click moment of a speech, or what actually happened there?
There was a few things.
The epiphany
that stood out for me. Firstly, I identified with what they were saying, so I felt like I wasn't alone. Secondly, they had nice clothes, which is mad. It doesn't matter really what attracts you to change. My trainers flapped, so they talked when I walked because the soles were coming off. I didn't spend my money on anything other than drugs. My teeth were, I was just unhealthy. My eyes were sunk into the back of my head. I couldn't look at people in the eyes. My clothes were hot rock burns, and these people looked happy. and had clean clothes.
But
And I was
what-
attracted to this.
And they were
What-
addicts.
What I
Yeah,
find
they were in recovery.
exceptional is that you allowed that, and that you sort of like accepted that you were in that moment deserving of something better.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you could have easily gone into that meeting, and said, yeah, okay, well, that's funny what they are saying,
A bunch of
but
wanker.
I'm rejecting this. But your mind, obviously, in that moment was open enough to
That's
value it and to accept it, and see yourself as deserving enough to actually allow it in, and to continue working with it until now.
Well, that's a huge open mind.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
like open-mindedness and willingness.
Yeah.
Two massive things that you need to change.
Yeah.
Open-minded to the concept and the willingness to change.
Yeah.
And if you don't have them, you know, there are huge, massive principles that you need to change. And I was blessed that my mind was open to listen to that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, people do go and they go back out, but the seed is sown. And they think, well, there is a place. And they come back. And eventually some people, it takes their journey. Everyone's journey is different. But definitely I was blessed. My mind was open. I couldn't be more grateful for the life that I've been given. You know what I mean? I couldn't be more grateful.
And I mean,
for the life that you've taken.
It was given to me, and I took it, as in I did the things I needed to do, but it was also given to me, and I pass it on. So I am grateful, and gratitude is an action. Gratitude is not a word. For me, gratitude is an action, and gratitude is shown by passing something on or helping other people.
Well, by
I
being
think
here.
I think that's great, because it's like you said, gratitude is an action. It's something you receive, but then you were able in that moment to receive actually the presents, the present that you were given. Because oftentimes we receive presents, but and we receive them all the time, but we are so like closed-minded to not see them coming. And then we push maybe the right people away, the right circumstances, the right conditions that would have actually like evolved us to a much better place in quantum leaps.
Yeah.
So, but our mind
we run away from the people who are going to tell us the truth.
Yeah. Oh, that's,
you know, I've done that in my life.
Absolutely.
I think we've probably all done that.
But you know what does that tell us? Like in the end, although like any type of addiction, whether it's to materials or people or whatever sort of addiction, and I personally believe that we are all addicted to some a certain extent. It's a separation of ourselves. So our mind sort of like gets separated from our essence. We are not really us anymore.
We detach.
We are separated, and then yes, we do then believe again. We feel that truth. Like when you went to that meeting, you said that you were sensing something, that they were telling the truth, and you accepted it. So you were open to this love in that moment, and you allowed it in, and that's where you sort of like reconnected with your own self.
So the other thing that is and the other thing I was thinking about when you were saying all that, I was thinking that it wasn't just that I was open to them as well. I also, and that's the huge thing, I knew that they knew what was going on inside my head. So they've been through what I was going through. I think that that's the most powerful thing in any situation. It's very hard, like a psychiatrist or psychotherapist or whatever it is that's come and talk, unless they can professionally help, but groups where people know what they can identify with each other. Yeah, I know how you feel because I've been through that, and you'll come this way because it's this better way. And I'm not on it just about addiction. Like, you know, there's lots of groups like that. There's support groups for many different things, and I think when someone's been through something, it's easier for them to guide someone through what they're going through. That makes sense.
Yeah. No, I remember
that was a big thing for me.
After my mother died, she was only 64, and I mean, Irish funerals, as you'll know, like the removal of the remains is where you have about 200 people came to the church, and you have to stand at the front, and people come up and shake your hand, and they say, "I'm sorry for your troubles," whatever.
Yeah.
the only people who knew what to say to me, and this were people who had lost a parent.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that I didn't appreciate everybody else, but the people that that took me to one side and said the right things to me were someone who had also lost a mother or father, because there was a particular sense of them understanding and
Empathy.
that connection and empathy that you've spoken about before. And I'm sure it's kind of similar. It's kind of going, okay, that's a safe space that I can go to. I don't have to pretend to be somebody else with these people, because they get me.
Yeah.
And they get what I'm going through, and there'll be no platitudes.
Yeah.
And no empty words. And I'm wondering, I mean,
that's exactly it. That's exactly it. You know, I mean, you couldn't have described it better. That's exactly what it is. It's people understand, like we understand each other. Like it's, you know, anyone who's like, if you're into anything and the other person's going to understand it better. If you're into, you know, tech gear like Tim, he's going to be able to talk about a camera with someone that'll understand it. They'll click on that basis. And the same with recovery. I know that this guy's not sitting here going, well, you know, you need to do this and this, but I've never done it. No, you need to do this, but I've been through it. I know what it's like.
I'm good at that. I'm good at giving people advice about stuff I've never done. I just blag it. You know? we got a load of comments, comments, but there's a couple that stood out. And not that any of the others didn't stand out, but one Leeds from Leeds is sort of saying you'd make a good counsellor, but you are a counsellor, aren't you, really?
It honestly, it doesn't. Thank you very much. It's very kind of you, what you said. I have friends of mine that are psychotherapists, highly trained, love the profession. Me personally, I think if it became a profession for me, I wouldn't have the same reward that I get from if I can help someone along the way. I do service within fellowships. I have done for years, within different levels, prisons, treatment centres. I just have no interest in being my profession, like, because then I just don't think I'll be able for it. But number one, I would probably eventually not be able to, because you have to have a really certain level of a certain level of person that does that, because there's debriefing as well involved in it. It's a lot. You're taking a lot of you're sitting with people, maybe 2-3 people a day. You're listening to a lot of stuff, and it's not just you're generally, and it's tough.
You're absorbing the energy.
Absorbing. And I'm not sure I personally would be able to do it, but I'm always happy to help people who throw this on. If I can help people, I will. You know what I mean? If someone's looking for guidance or that's interesting. I think it might be a bit short for me though. But I'm all right. I'm shivering a bit more from nerves.
You're not still nervous, are
I
you?
always get nervous. Tim, I've said it to Tim before. Even on my own lives, even on my own stuff, I have a little bit of nerves.
We're getting so many comments about this is one of the best vlogs that I've ever done, and it's the one I don't speak on.
Sorry, I'll keep quiet. Sorry.
No, I think that's the reason it's the best.
No.
I think it might be the topic.
I think it is. I think it's this unbelievable. I'm just taking a cross section here. I do apologise for everybody. Unbelievable live stream. Well done, Daniel. What an incredible journey you've had, Simon. This is basically the epitome of the last 20 comments. So even Gordon Squires on. The thing is, drink doesn't really take your mind off. It makes you more absorbent to the analysis of your predicament.
I'm trying to read that again.
I will. Yeah. The thing is, drink doesn't really take your mind off it. It just makes you more absorbent to the analysis of your predicament. That means you look at your navel more, does it?
But
You're dwelling.
You're dwelling on it.
But there are different kinds of drinkers. I mean, aren't there, Daniel? I mean, from your experience, there are people who are addicted and will be addicted to drink and drugs for this disease you were talking about.
Yeah.
But there are people who, at some stage in their life, start to drink heavily, whether it's because they're 21, they've got a new job, they've got loads of money, and they're with a crowd who drink.
Yeah.
But they get up on Monday and they don't really go out for a drink till Friday.
Yeah.
But when they're drunk, they're pains in the arse.
Yeah.
Right, that's good old Irish expression.
Good old Irish expression. Demonetised.
Striked.
And I think sometimes, and there are people who I think grow up and possibly grow out of drinking.
Yeah.
Go on, shoot me down here.
No, and I agree with you. But I don't know.
I'm not saying it's a good thing.
No, it's very hard to know who's an addict and who isn't an addict. Only you know yourself, and you know the damage you're creating yourself. And I never point and go like that person's an addict. But if someone asks for help, I'll bring them to the right place. But in relation to that, that comment, I'm just trying to. Yes, when you're drinking, you drink yourself into a darker place. It's like anything. Like I said in what I talked about, when I drank and used, it worked at the start. It killed for maybe, every time I found a new drug, I was like, this is the answer to my problems. This is the answer to my problems. And in the end, it was like, this is destroying me. This is destroying me. You know what I mean? So, but I ended up taking drugs at the end just to feel normal, just to try and get some sort of normal, kind of level off the mentalness that was going on in my head.
Because it was an imbalance without them at that stage.
Yeah, I was in a dark place. So, yeah, I'm not sure if I fully understood the comment completely. But from what I can get, is kind of saying that when you're drinking a lot, you tend to think a lot more when you're drunk, and it's perpetuating strike two.
Well, I take it in as like you're drinking and you conditioned yourself to, like what you were describing, a new normal that you created for yourself. So you got so used to it and so addicted to it that you created that new normal, and then going into that spot is not really you're not drinking to actually take it away, to actually have a bliss or have a fun night or whatever, to be better. It's to punish yourself more, because obviously, like what you were describing early on, it's accompanied with a lot of shame, resentment, and you actually hate yourself for doing that. But then you're getting addicted to feeling ashamed, and that's why you do it again and again and again, because you're such an a-hole. And yeah,
she's a lot.
And I'm saying this because, like, as I said before, and I keep repeating it, I believe that we are all addicted, and this 12-step program, for example, I use it in my own mentoring. I do use it because it helps on other levels as well. And it's something that we can all use in our own life.
So the tools aren't just for people who want to recover from addiction.
I use it.
The tools have been adapted to many things.
I use it in my own life daily.
Yeah.
And it's one of the steps. It's this creating this daily routine, like you said before, with meditating, whatever spiritual connection you find.
Yeah.
So creating this routine and doing it on a daily basis, and then giving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
I'm just going to say a big thank you to Neil Davidson for his donation there.
Thanks,
he put
Neil.
a super chat up. People put a super chat up if they want me to notice it, but unfortunately I'm looking this way. So I don't see. Neil, Daniel equals simply the best. I chat with him regularly, and such a superb honest guy. Neil Davidson. You were talking about him the other day.
And a really big heart that man has. He reached out to me a few times. He could see that things were struggling here, and he's just sent me some nice messages. And I'm actually he's coming over here soon, so I'm looking forward to meeting him and his Russian princess as well.
Oh, Russian princess.
And I just got
the Persian princess will meet the Russian princess.
I've just got to tell her.
You're the Irish princess, and we are the German princesses.
The Irish queen.
There you go.
I'm just going to tell.
Hello.
I'm just going to mute these people, and then I'll get a word in edgeways. So now it's just me talking. Okay, you can't hear them as well. So I'd like to thank each and every one of you. It's coming up to the hour now, so we're not going to finish right now, but we're going to slowly wind down. So if there's anybody else who's got any big questions, what we're going to do is we're going to go through this again afterwards in our own time. Maybe we'll look at it another time. I will look through all of the comments, and if there's anything I think that Daniel should need to know, I'll take a screenshot of it and I'll send it over to him, and he might integrate that into a vlog maybe in another time. I'm unmuting you all now, so
no problem. And the other thing is, if
the power, I've got the power.
If this has affected anyone, and if anyone is watching and they need, or they want to seek help, or they want to seek a direction to reach out and possibly change their lives and start a journey that I started many years ago, because I can only, it's life beyond me wildest dreams. Drop me a message on Instagram or on Facebook. I'll put you in the right direction to where you can seek help wherever you are in the world. There's 12-step groups all over the world. So
that's perfect. The only thing is, don't tell anybody you're going to see the crack master about some drugs.
You know what? I never. When I was with Lee and someone gave me that nickname, I was like, that's
Wrong.
It's wrong, but I said to run with it anyways. 'Cause it was put on me, and it's all right. I'm okay with it. But like, I have can I do a quick?
Of
shameless
course.
I have with two mates of mine back in Ireland. We haven't done it in a while, but we have a podcast called That's Good Crack, and crack CRAIC.
What else would it be?
It's Irish crack. So it's the three of us with guests on, some famous guests, famous Irish singers and stuff, talking about this very topic and how we've changed our lives. And there's some really good chats on there with tools of how to get in, how we dealt with life, like simple things like our first dance. The first dance without drinking drugs.
Wow.
It was like, my mate described it, the best way he could describe it was like, the metal strip between the wooden floor and the carpet.
Yeah.
Felt like the Alps. You know what I mean? Because you were that afraid, so self-conscious. And then, all the things that the first steps in life that you would have relied on using before to kind of, so we talk about that in it as well. So if you want to check it out.
Okay. I'm going to disappoint a load of people now because my iPad has just died. Oh. And that means there's no Vamos a la Playa.
Oh. Well,
but,
and we haven't heard about your lederhosen.
That's Mondays.
I don't care. I want to know.
They don't fit.
Okay.
Not yet.
I want to clarify, they fit me. I put them on Monday.
He put them on.
I did, yeah, over my shorts.
It just shows you don't watch my vlogs on Mondays.
Yeah. Well, he said hello to me on your vlog on Mondays, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
So there.
Well, did you see him put the lederhosen on?
No, I averted my gaze.
Something.
Yeah.
Christine wants to say.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Christina has kindly given up a microphone today and then she said, hang on, which one are you? The blue one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it close enough?
You can talk about the
No, I don't talk about lederhosen.
Clever woman.
I talk about my grandchild.
Oh.
We forgot to say hi to her.
Hi.
Hi, Monica.
If she's there.
I didn't. I was leaving that till the end.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I thought you've forgotten again.
No, I didn't forget again. What's happened is my daughter started coming on with our granddaughter.
Oh, right.
And on Friday she went, "Hi, Granddad," and it had gone past and I hadn't seen it. And then on Monday it said, "Hi." Oh, she called me on Sunday and sort of said, you missed us, yeah. And then on Monday, "Hi, Granddad," and even my son-in-law actually donated. Right, and I missed that. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm in the doghouse.
Absolutely.
And then it's
cold in there.
It's over an hour now, and I haven't mentioned our beautiful granddaughter Malika, and our beautiful daughter Stephanie, and their wonderful husband. What's his name? Their wonderful husband Kasim.
Hi, family. Kasim, Malika, Stephanie. Nice to see you.
Okay, the thing is, I can't go all through all these. The moment you realise the pain he's doing, there's loads of these things. I say we're going to go through it, but the hour is unfortunately, and I really mean it, unfortunately, the hour is unfortunately up. We do have to wind this down. I think I've managed to get Vamos a la Playa.
Hey.
I'm just going to check with the rim shot. That's too loud. That's too loud. But there you go. So, Christina.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say before we start off? This is good actually because I can't see it then. So the iPad's in there.
Hey.
Hey. And thank you for giving up your mic today.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I just wanted to say, it's harder to give up alcohol than any other drug.
You think?
Because everybody drinks around you.
Okay, yeah, I didn't think of that.
That's a very good point, because it's one of the things that would always be said to me: "You're an Irishman, you don't drink," or "Why aren't you drinking?" or "What's your problem with drinking?" And I just at the start you're like, oh well, what do I say? What do I say? I says, and in a bar I'd often say, well, let's put it this way: you like your bar the way it is now, so it's better you don't give me a drink. But it is, you're right, big time. It literally because it's an almost like a rite of passage drinking.
Exactly what I was
Yeah.
going to say,
You know.
and it's really. I hate. In fact, I think Spanish kids are probably just looking at it now from a mother of a teen. She has had a drink without my permission. That was the first one, and she's now at parties allowed to have a beer.
Yeah.
But there's a much more relaxed attitude, so they're not going out binge drinking like we did. The bottle of vodka before you went to the local disco at 16 down the back of the lane.
Yeah.
Because you wanted to get plastered before you got to the alcohol-free disco. Very Irish.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when, because Ireland would never had people coming to Ireland for a long time. So I remember when we had a lot of different nationalities, and when I DJ'd, and all of a sudden there was people on the dance floor before 11 o'clock. It was like,
what?
Yeah, it's like, what's going on here? You know what you're doing dancing? You're not drunk yet. You know what I mean? So it's that.
Oh yes.
No, they were like just.
We're only going to the bar for one drink rather than having 4 pints bought before last orders.
Yeah.
So you bottle them down before you staggered out the door.
It's one of the most interesting things I used to find after, because I DJ for 10 years, and when I finished DJing in the club, I'd be driving home, and literally it was like, if you didn't know alcohol was involved, you think there was a zombie apocalypse. Driving through the streets, you're like.
So, Clio, final quote or comment or question?
Let's change the way we think about drink. Let's stop drinking. Until next week. No, I just think we need to change the way we think about drink, especially as adults, because there's people coming up behind us and they watch us.
Yeah. I'm going to do something different. Christina, last comment or question?
Take care, guys.
Okay. And Juliane, you need to grab the microphone back. You can bang the table. Don't worry. Don't worry about it.
I'm doing my best. Yeah, I mean, it was great having you on. It was amazing. Thank you for sharing all this.
Thank you.
And being so honest. I really, really did enjoy it.
Juliane was really looking forward to this.
Yeah.
She was really
No,
looking
I
forward
did.
to
And
this,
I really soaked it
Can
up.
you just tell him what you said to him when he walks in?
Yeah. Well, no, because he's so huge. And like having seen your vlog, I imagined you to be like really, and then this guy, like, I had to look up, and I was like, wow.
Giant.
Yeah, exactly.
And for me, Daniel, it's the first time I met you, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure because I had this thing in my mind about what people, with tattoos and what have you, and beards and I'm big guys, and especially Irish, I had this preconceived, and you are so genuine. You are so, what's the word? Comfortable in your own skin.
Yeah.
I'm jealous. You're just comfortable in your own skin. You need to coach me to get me a bit fitter.
You can join me
I
training
think that's
whenever
a
you want.
I can join you training.
I'm
You
on
can shovel me home.
I'm on that journey myself at the moment again, because I fractured my spine 3 years ago, training for a fight, and since that I'm on a journey as well. So you can join me on that journey. I'm back running again, which proper running like.
What I'm going to do now is for my fitness thing. Now I'm doing a half-hour walk a day for February.
Brilliant.
And then I'm going to extend it for March, extend it for April, extend it, and then I think by about September I'll be able to do a run.
Well, Lee is coming here, and he's asked me to start helping him get a bit fitter as well. So we could all go out together. Yeah. And it's trick to doing a 5K, because I never could do a 5K before, is always doing the distance. If you run and walk it, run 5 seconds, walk. Yeah. You finish the distance, and the longer you do it, all of a sudden you're running the full 5K.
The only thing is I don't have that much time to be away from Christina. Because 4 weeks for the 5K.
All right. I was going to say excuses.
Oh no, that's it. I mean, I've just had spinal fusion surgery,
Yeah.
and I want to start running again.
Yeah.
So,
We can all
so I
go.
won't join you.
We can all do. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Tim Dowd and all our guests for Living with MS in Tenerife. And it was a fantastic blog. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to see if I can do Vamos a la Playa. It might be loud,
Whoa.
but I'm getting ready to turn it down just in
Vamos.
case. You'll get your earphones in.
Vamos a la playa.
It's not that
All
loud.
right, I wasn't too loud. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Tim Dowd for Living with MS in Tenerife. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that little bell for notifications. Don't forget to subscribe to Daniel's podcast and channel and everything. Cleo's got a podcast on Mondays. It's called
Canary
Cast. Juliane has got a YouTube channel, got a webpage. Christina is living with MS in Tenerife, and I'm living with a mess in Tenerife. We'd like to thank you, each and every one of you. If I missed anybody or any donation or any fantastic comment there, I apologize. And we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye.